takedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
This was just dropped. Shannon Sharpe's legal team responds to $50 million lawsuit, says it is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. Okay, as I said, this is just an icebreaker, so you definitely can comment or you don't have to. Does anybody want to start the conversation off?
Cash grab.
I'll just start. Oh, go ahead.
Like multiple times. How you do that multiple times? That was the first thing. So
I want to know.
Wait,
I want to
hold
know
on, Danielle.
how long.
Hold on. I think you might be on a delay, but go ahead, Danielle.
No, I was just curious. I don't know. When you say multiple times, like multiple times consensual, it's a little iffy. So I don't really have a comment on that. I'm not going to automatically believe he did that. So
I'm kind of.
I don't know. It's just, I didn't think nothing like Shannon Sharpe. I don't know. That's my first time seeing it.
Did they mention how long ago this happened? Or it's just saying that it's just happened? I believe.
So he's known her since 2023, I believe. I think let me add a few more details. She's more than 30 years younger than him. Okay. I believe that Shannon Sharpe is like 50. I believe that Shannon Sharpe is like 50, between 53 and 56. I'm not sure exactly. Okay. So she's in her early 20s. And I think she said that she thought that she was in an exclusive relationship with him until that leaked Instagram thing that Shannon Sharpe had did or something like that. So, and then the lawyer is the same lawyer that tried to sue Jay-Z for that fake lady.
So that's kind of lost all credibility then.
Yeah, for sure. I wish they had repercussions for both, like for the woman to make a false claim, because a lot of women do that. And I believe what it sounds like, what it's framing out to be, is what happened was obviously she thought they were exclusive. And obviously there was money involved. So maybe once she found out there was another woman involved, because women can be really like evil and vindictive. So to, get back at him for having another woman, he forced this on me or whatever the case may be, just to try and get some money, because a lot of them will say, it was settled out of court just to make it go away, immediately.
Well,
that's
you've
what
got
I think.
the Amber Heard thing. You've got, so what I've seen in the media is.
So before we get too far into this reaction video, this is Anton Daniels' Monday night panel. They are responding to the Shannon Sharpe allegations. Today is Tuesday when I'll be recording this, so I don't know when I'll have it out. With that being said, now we do know that they've known each other longer than 2023. They actually met at a gym in 2019. And that's where they actually started coercing and talking and went from there. So they've known each other for a while. We all also know now that she released the audio tape. It was only a small piece of the audio that said they were talking about something, and she told him not to manipulate her. And he says, "You say stuff like that next time I see you, I should choke you." All types of language, things that put Shannon Sharpe in a bad light. With that being said, you're going to hear some very unique opinions on this panel. But once you're done hearing some of these opinions, I want to give you guys my thoughts and opinions. And I think that is actually totally different view than a lot of people actually have on this situation. So let's hear a little bit more and then we'll go from there.
Amber Heard, we've got Blake Lively, we've got a lot of girls in the university system. I think, Anton, you've even, I don't know if you covered this or not, but women who have come back and recanted recently about
for sure.
incidences. There's just too many stories where people recant. I don't think we, at this point, can still say, believe all women, because there have been too many people who've had their lives destroyed.
Yeah, for sure. And then they had those boys. What was it? They had that. It was. I think it was. Yeah, 2 black guys. This is the first time I've ever seen a woman actually get prosecuted for making false claims. It was a white woman. She was a white girl. I think they were like early 20s. They were all in college. The 2 boys played something. Y'all might have heard about it. They try not to make these big cases like where everybody hears, but I followed it. And so she got prosecuted because they found out what she said was she willingly had sex with these 2 boys in a bathroom at like a party. She said that she was forced because I guess her boyfriend found out about it. So she immediately says, "Oh no, I was great," And so it was a lie. And then her text messages proved it because the boys ended up getting arrested. And so when they found out it was a lie, because I believe they were on scholarships and they lost those scholarships, they got kicked out of school, everything. And so they actually, once they found out that she was lying, they pressed charges against her, to put her in jail.
But here's the thing. Have you guys ever seen someone who's been falsely accused and had to go through the entire court system, and they were really popping before this event happened, and they were falsely accused, they were cleared through the courts? Have you ever seen them fully recover? Like, I have not. Is there been anybody who's been able to bounce back? That's why I think we really need to start examining these people who are accusing, because whether you're a big star or you're just a college kid, a lot of those kids lost their scholarships. They lost their places on teams in the college. Like they lost privileges that they had that they can't get back. Yes, they're free, but they lost. How did they
lost their name? Yeah, their name is already just it's been tarnished. Like I'm literally in law school right now just because my issue has to be with is really with the family court laws, how they haven't changed them, how they screw over men, and how they do. I'm literally in law school so I can help, because I've had a really, really close friend of mine get.
As you can see there, they're currently giving their own synopsis. It's going to get deeper into their response about trying to get to Jess at the top. She kind of sparks a lot of the conversation. With that being said, we all know of people who have cried wolf and it affected other people. This is something you see a lot in the military. I've seen it a lot, especially working in the mental health field. I've seen it a lot with people accusing people, and then those individuals get to actually leave bases and go to another base of preference, things of that nature. And then that man is stuck. If people find out who it is, that man is then stuck with, that type of reputation above him. So just something to think about. I think there are some ways that we can improve this system. They're going to talk about some of those, but I think Anonymous Base, the gentleman at the top, had one of the best options, and I think he said they needed to create a false accuser like database so that like somebody can see if a woman that's accusing them have already done this before. See if it's like a part of their personality. So I thought that was pretty cool when he thought of that idea. But let's get back into it.
Screwed completely over, like completely screwed over. And so, I take that to heart. And then I've seen, it's just too many cases, and men get screwed over. Like it's messed up. And believe all women, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Especially, go ahead.
When it comes to situations like these, then, right, women that this actually happened to them, is it going to come to a case where they actually have to prove it? Like, they're going to have to need physical evidence, like a video or them being recorded or text messages. Like, is that the times that we're in that we can't believe the women, even if they went through it, to where now the women that have actually went through this, they're going to actually have to need physical or some type of.
I don't believe any woman by default.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, they need to. So this is the thing. I think the problem is a lot of women wait. I'm not gonna say they do wait. They do, but what's gonna have to happen if you want to probably prosecute? I know it's a whole mental challenge through that, but you're gonna have to go to the hospital and get a great. Like, that's the only physical way they're going to be able to prove it. Unless I say they start prosecuting these women. And I bet if they thought they was going to jail or going to have a repercussion,
they wouldn't do that.
Let me ask a question, because I don't know. And this is a genuine question. How does a rape kit prove that a person actually did or didn't consent, right? Because, like, for example, that's if you meet somebody on the street and they grab you in a dark alley, that's much different than a person that was in a consensual relationship for a long time with a person. And then how do you then say that they did do something when you were in a consensual relationship with them? You see what I'm saying? Right.
In some cases, it's obvious down there. If it was a legit breath, you get what I'm saying? When they do that kid and they take and you go to the hospital, you may have, most likely for the most part,
like bruising
trauma down there, bruising, trauma, things like that, bruising on your body if you fight. So I'm just saying, it's going to be but I think
Nikki, your audio.
But how did they know she wasn't?
This is the part.
How did they know?
Wait, hold on, Danielle. Hold on. Y'all, I think your audio's in delay. Go ahead, Anonymous.
Yeah. So the thing that I don't understand is if the relationship started off under the pretense of it being consensual, at what point does it go from we're doing something consensual to now I'm being violated? Like, what's the threshold there?
You know what the threshold is?
No.
What's the threshold?
$100 million.
Facts.
Okay.
You're not hearing me. Hold on. Right, Shannon Sharpe, just 2 days ago, it came out that he was about to get $100 million contract for all of his platforms, including Club Shay Shay. Because his deal is expiring currently with Colin Cowherd. Okay, so he's on deck for a big payday for all of his platforms, which include Nightcaps, Club Shay Shay, so on and so forth. So he is in line for a big pay, and now all of a sudden, this comes out. So when I say $100 million, it's alleged that that's around how much his new deal is going to be, is about $100 million.
Okay. So then if that's the case, then that begs a different question. Is she in it for the money, or is she in it to legitimately get justice?
Come on, dog. Listen, this isn't a criminal. This isn't a criminal complaint. It's a civil suit.
That's another thing too. I think that could eliminate a lot of this, is that we shouldn't allow people, and I didn't say women because some men are raped as well. We shouldn't allow people who are alleging that they were able to do a civil suit. It should have to go through the legal system. I don't think there should be any monetary value given to a victim until the end of the trial and something actually comes out of the trial. When someone's going in just for money and like defamation and things of that nature, to me, that's a huge red flag. So just something to think about.
And that's why, honestly, by default, I just don't believe, I can't believe any woman. I think that the fact that we allowed for this to go on for so long and for so many men to get Me Too'd and all of this stuff just based off of accusations, they've lost their jobs, they've lost their income, they lost their reputation, they've lost the thing that they worked so hard for. It's hard because a lot of the same women that is saying that, this don't make sense, was saying, yo, me too. Like pushing the whole narrative, and they pushed the believe all women, pushed all of this stuff. So, that hard overcorrection a lot of times, and using and leveraging, the fact that you can say something. Because I'll give you an example. Like, a lot of these cases are not actually something that people are trying to go to court for, right? They're trying to get a quick settlement, a quick payout. Hey, listen, okay, look, you don't really want to go through this. Now you got to, you know what I'm saying, send some money, get your deal. We make this go away and we just keep it moving. A lot of times, a lot of guys get accused. You never hear about it because they come to the conclusion it's just cheaper on my reputation. It's cheaper as far as not having to have all these court costs and lawyer fees and all this stuff. And so a lot of guys have gotten extorted, especially if you have some level of significance. And this also proves that it's not safe for guys that's single. Like, guys that's not in a situationship, or guys that, a lot of times we've always thought that child support, or, guys that get married and then, they wind up getting divorced and losing half their shit. Nobody is safe. If anything, all of this has taught y'all is that nobody is safe. No guy is safe from the possible accusation of anything or anybody. And you got to be careful who you even keep in your circle. A chick that look good, a chick that may be cute, a chick that may be young. None of that shit play. Everything is at play now. So you just got to be very, very careful. And I feel for him because he worked his ass off every single.
But it's his own fault, though. I blame Shannon Sharpe for this.
Okay.
This is not his first rodeo. Come on now, somebody of his caliber. I'm sure he's dealt with millions and thousands of women. So in this particular case, I blame Shannon Sharpe for where he at, because my thing is, my brother, why are you dealing with these kind of women? I understand you might want to get your rocks off, but I mean, you got to know what comes with that. And on the flip side of that, I think it's three sides to a story: your side, their side, and the truth. Now, am I saying Shorty is lying about everything? I don't think so, because I do think Unc is kind of strict. If you look at his other podcasts, you can't even poop in front of Shannon Sharpe. You know what I'm saying? So
what does that have to do with whether he raped a woman or not?
Well, I'm just talking about the other things about him being controlling. I'm not talking about the whole rape situation, but she did make other allegations outside of the whole rape situation. But in this particular
wait. You blame Shannon Sharpe,
yes,
for fucking with women, and he a single person?
Yes.
No, I blame him for dealing with women who he know could potentially want him for what he has. Come on now, Shannon.
You don't know that.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. What woman won't deal with Shannon Sharpe based off of what he has?
Precisely. So my thing is, Shannon, you got to
know he should never ever deal with a woman.
But if you're dealing with a woman who's 30 years.
So let me pause there before we get closer towards the end. They're going to go into some dialogue. With that being said, I think Jess was almost hitting it in the right direction, but I'm going to bring it home. So there's something I did a podcast on Spotify a few years ago, and it was called the Adele Effect. And a lot of people didn't understand it until they listened to it. And when I say the Adele Effect, we all remember Adele when she always been a great singer. She's always produced great music, right? With that being said, the overweight Adele was very unhappy. Her first marriage wasn't successful. Then later on in life, you see Adele get in shape, she loses weight, and then she moves on to date Rich Paul, from Clutch Sports. with LeBron James. And I always tell people that sometimes we have to know who we are before we start to date certain people. And let me explain myself. So for myself, right? I feel like I'm a decent looking guy, but that's my own opinion. With that being said, I know I look a little rough. I ain't got shaved and stuff like that. But with that being said, we also know as we move up in life from a financial standpoint, when we become more well known or liked or popular, our dating scale goes up, right? You might start it off dating some attractive women when you were in high school. You might have had a couple attractive women when you're in college, but they were still women that, your everyday girl, that, kind of equivalent to like your Savannah James type personnel. Or if you see how Patrick Mahomes is with his wife Brittany, not bad looking women, but they're your standard. But as your fame and celebrity rise, Pandora box starts to open. You start to get women that because this is the issue. Because Shannon, I'm not blaming him. I don't know if he's guilty or not. With that being said, this is not the first time Shannon's name has come up in these type of conducts, in these type of news. This is not the first time. With that being said, if you're the common denominator, it comes a point in time where we have to start evaluating, okay, look at the women that Shannon is having relations with and look at Shannon Sharpe. Now, from a physical aspect, Shannon Sharpe is in amazing shape. Six pack, we've seen workout videos, very attractive from a physical point of view. But then when you go to the facial point of view, would Shannon Sharpe really be someone that women would just go all over? The best example is kind of like Lil Wayne, right? Lil Wayne fame and money makes him handsome, makes him beautiful. We all know this. I'm not hating. I'm just being your wealth, what you have and what you're able to obtain makes you more handsome. I think if every man understands that, that's why our value goes up as men. As long as we stay in shape, as long as we work out, as long as we become high value men, get a good career, have everything that you need, no debt, good credit score, education. You have those basic things, and then you have money on top of it. Sky's the limit for you when it comes to the dating world. With that being said, I think that's something we don't talk about enough in the male sphere of things. We always talk about women because, women, this happens a lot for women. Men, we just are sexual creatures. So men, we make very poor decisions when just to get with a woman who we know she's not that attractive, or maybe she's not the shape that you want her to be in, but we'll still give that woman attention. We'll still provide her a service, and we'll date her, or we'll have sex with the person, and we'll continue to have these relations with a person, knowing that you can do much better. But what happens is once you finally get out of that phase, once you finally let that lady go, she now thinks that, okay, I had a good looking man. He had everything going for himself. That's my new standard. And that's what I call the Adele effect. Sometimes your stature, your money, and things takes up your standard or your expectation. But with that being said, if you take a time to look at yourself, look who you really are, look how you look, those type of things, you know you're dating outside of your league, and that's what Shannon Sharpe is doing. First of all, I don't agree with dating somebody 30 years. 10-year gap, cool. 30 years, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. I think she was 19 when they met. So just a lot, man. Just a lot there. With that being said, I really wish people would look at it from that lens, is that Shannon Sharpe is getting caught up in a lot of these things because he's a wealthy man in shape, and he has no need for a wife. He made that very clear. Like he said on his show, he pays people to leave, not stay. So with that being said, he knows the type of women he's encountering. So it's weird to me that you even put yourself in a position with these certain type of women that you are poaching on to even have to start having these allegations. And I always tell people, if I had Shannon Sharpe money, man, I'm gonna give me a regular degler. Somebody who really looking out for my best interest, someone who I known for years, someone who already knows about the skeletons in the closet, all types of things. You got to be very, 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 very sure who you're picking. And that's why you see a lot of these pro athletes stay with the people that they were with since high school, just because it works. Same thing, a perfect example, we don't talk about him a lot now because he haven't had any more scandals, but Kevin Hart was a perfect example of this. Kevin Hart had a regular wife. She wasn't bad looking. She was a decent looking lady, perfect for him probably at the time when they met. But the moment he got his fame and fortune, he went for the light skin, long hair, thick, lady. And look at what happened in between that. He continued to have those moments of promiscuous, moments of being out there in the world, cheating, having affairs. Because when you get that stature, it comes with it. My platform is all about facts over feelings. These are just facts. You can get your feelings out of it and understand that, hey, a man is going to be a man. With that said, when you give a man money and he has wealth, and women are very intrigued by wealth and what you have, you're going to have these type of things that are going to kind of explode and come together. So let's hear a little bit more of this, and then we'll close it on out.
Younger than you, probably looks a certain way, probably like the typical IG baddie. You gotta know what comes with that. I'm sure he wanted her for one purpose only, and it's to have fun with her. I'm sure he was not trying to make that woman his wife.
Wait. When did it become a crime to engage in a consensual relationship?
All I'm saying is you got to know what comes with it.
And what comes? What comes with it?
With a man of his caliber comes a lot of different women who may want to use him or make accusations against him based off of what he has.
So you blame him for being successful?
No, I blame him for dealing with women who are not of substance.
He's not acting his age. You shouldn't.
So then by your logic,
Hold on. Have y'all lost your mind?
No, I get where Jason's coming from.
Thank you. Like, come on, Shannon.
Trying to say that
woman, bro.
So as you can see, you see where this conversation is going. This is Anton's show on Monday nights with Q. Island Girl Q up there in the left-hand corner. But they talked about it a little bit more. Anton is a very good conversationalist. He knows how to turn the wheel to get people to drive where he wants them to drive. So he drove the conversation to more of like not understanding, but Jess and the other young lady actually had some good points that they were trying to make. They weren't saying that who he's picking is the reason why he's in the scandals he in. They're just saying that at his age, at what he's been around the world a few times. At this point, what type of women you should be selecting, and you should have a little bit more discernment. With that being said, prayers out to Shannon, man. Hope everything works well for you, man. But I would really say not but with this being said, if you get out of this one, or when you get out of this, man, just settle down or leave these women alone, man. Get you an old cougar out there. Get you somebody your age that's just cool with the way you do things, cool with the way you operate, and allow you to move the way you want to move. So that's what I would recommend. With that being said, God loves you, which is most importantly. I love you. You're beautiful, and your boy's out. Let's go.